Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, and this is technical analysis of the stock market today. Today is Tuesday, January 13. We're going to take a look at the markets the way we usually do, and then we're going to take a look at three stocks: Celgene, Valero, and SanDisk. Okay, the Dow was down 27 points, but that's deceiving. If you weren't paying attention to this today, the market was up over 280 points and at one point was down 140 points after that and closed down 27. So a wild ride today, and I'm not quite sure what to make of it, actually. So big wide-ranging bar here. It went to a slightly new high, a higher high than on the 8th and on the 9th, and then closed back down. We're right at the 55. It's hard to tell what's going on with the Dow there. The S&P 500 a little more negative, actually, down 5, and way is closed, an outside down bar pretty clearly. Again, the wide-ranging move that happened in terms of the swings. Let me put a trend line in here across this bottom, because I'm going to be watching that. And let's take a look at the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq was down 3, and again, of course, as all the markets were swinging pretty crazily today, and so up, down, and closing down. So an outside down day on the Nasdaq too. New York Composite, similar look to the Dow actually in here. But this is more negative, again, because we've got the 21 below the 55, so the intermediate trend has turned to the downside. The short-term trend is to the downside with the 10 below the 21. So we've got the short-term trend turning down, the intermediate trend turning down. The long-term trend is still up, according to the moving averages. So things are starting to turn, and the New York Composite has been one of the weaker ones. So we'll see whether or not it takes out, this key pivot point right here on the 16th, from December 16th. Russell 2000, same type scenario. Short-term trading index ended up 1.54 for the day, so the 10-day is right in here, 1.29. Again, in the middle, but starting to creep up a little bit. The volatility index, the VIX, this really looked like it was making a run for this trend line again. So this is rather interesting. And early on I was watching it, and it made me think when the Dow was up over 200, well over 200 points, and the way the VIX was acting, I remember thinking to myself, wow, this just doesn't look like the VIX is collapsing. Now, I know it was down, and it was down around 18 here, but it just looked like it was wanting to turn. And then next thing you know, it's popping up, and the market's selling off. And sure enough, I mean, this trend is, the short-term trend is still trending here to the high side, and the VIX is still wanting to act like it wants to push higher. So we'll have to watch that. High-low index, the new highs exceeded new lows, 52-week new highs by 97. So 52-week new highs exceeded 52-week new lows by 97 today. And the moving averages look like they're starting to converge a little bit. So we're kind of watching this. Are we going to go sideways a little bit here? Or we get a down move, we get any kind of solid negative below zero, we're going to start to pull that 10-day moving average to cross that 21, and that could be an indication of more selling to come. Okay, we'll take a look at the start off with some of these ETFs. Just kind of get a feel for what's happening with some of these key ETFs. So the semiconductors are selling off here, and we talked about how they're trending down. Well, today, again, they had the swing high like in the market and closing down, an outside down day. The home builders was a disaster. Look at this. So much for the home builders trending up and look like they're fighting the trend of everybody else. This is a major, to me, it looks like a major reversal bar. Huge, huge outside down day. Engulfing, okay? Not only did it engulf the body, I mean, it engulfed the entire range of the last 2 days of trading on the XHB. And I think there was something with KB Homes came out. KB Homes, I think, it was either Pulte or KB Homes. I haven't looked at it lately. I got smashed, and they had some announcement, and then they just sold the home builders off. And the financial XLF, it is trending down here and actually closing pretty close. Let's see, 23.84, right at the same close as on the 6th. So it's pushing down on an intraday basis. Did it take out that December 16th low? 23.68. It did by 1 cent. So it just fractionally exceeded the low on December 16th. That's pretty negative because the markets, I mean, when you look back to the Dow, let's look at the S&P 500. I mean, it's not even close to doing that. So the financials are now showing a pretty strong weakness. That's kind of a redundant term. A pretty good weakness, I guess, is the way I should say that. And it could be a sign of leading the indices down, which we hadn't really seen in a while. And the last thing I'm going to look at related to an ETF is the United States 12-month. It always knows where I want to go. Okay, so again, this is a picture of what's happening with the price of oil. As you can see back up here in June 25th. United States 12-month oil was 47.49, and today it's 23.80. And the West Texas Intermediate closed below $45 a barrel on the futures. All right, now the last thing we're going to take a look at tonight are the 3 stocks: Celgene, Valero, and SanDisk. Celgene, nice move up today on Celgene. It was up almost 3 points and was a lot higher during the day. So closed 119.98, and the high was about 4 points higher at 1 point. So the real question is this just a one-day shot, or is this the continuation of is this a new move, a new leg heading up? It looks like we're getting bullish stuff on the indicators, bullish indications from the indicators. So the RSI is at almost 65, and it's breaking out to new highs. So the moving averages are crossing. So I mean, it looks good. I mean, it looks pretty solid. The volume, look at the volume the last 2 days. Blow it up for you. The dotted line is the 50-day moving average of volume, and so the last 2 days just really exceeded that with these two moves. So we'll see if we get continued action out of Celgene. SanDisk, on the other hand, is going the other way. And this started to look weak to me. I was a little wary because the moving averages, the intermediate and long term, were still aligned to the high side. But it now looks like we may have a truncated 5th wave here. And the moving averages short term crossed. The 10 crossed below the 21. And so it's been selling off since then, had that big collapse yesterday, and continued to sell off again today, another 2.57 points. So you look back, and it's had a heck of a move, but right now it looks like it's collapsing. And this does look like a 3-wave A, B, C type corrective move. Now, it's tempting to say, well, maybe this is still part of a big corrective move to the, going horizontal. But we already had that with what I think is a big corrective move here, wave 2. We already had a kind of an A, B, C flat, large flat corrective action. And so typically 4 should be more of a sharp, quick correction, and that is a zigzag, exactly what we got with wave 4. This, and then this kind of action like now, gapping down like this, dropping like a stone, that kind of leads me to believe that this truly is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I call it a truncated fifth because it's barely gotten up to the height of the fifth wave here, of the third wave, I'm sorry, and this is the fifth wave. So that's my read of it at the moment. That's my best take. And right now, there's nothing to do in terms of stepping in here. We'll have to see if we get any kind of a setup for a re-entry to the downside. And the last one is Valero. Valero's also gotten kind of negative. It broken this trend line, big wide-ranging move today to the downside. It was down $1.42. But you can see now that the intermediate has broken below the 55. The 10 has just now broken below the 21. The 55 was below the 233, so the long term has broken down. The intermediate is now broken down, so Valero is definitely looking like, and it's probably just a delay. I won't pretend to understand the dynamics of how, when, at what point do oil prices, either when they're dropping or rising, affect Valero's business as a refiner. Okay, and I know that they're also in the downstream. Okay, I know they're in the downstream with distribution. They have gas stations and they have refineries, so they are midstream and downstream. And I assume at some point that this kind of a drop is going to affect them, and it looks like it's now starting to do that. So it's going to be interesting to watch this and see if we can get another setup that plays out to the downside. So that's it on Valero tonight. That's it for Tuesday, and we'll be back on Thursday night with another market update. And I think that's, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. So everyone have a great Wednesday, Thursday. This has been Joe for Beyond the Chart. Thanks for stopping by.